Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Death by Pony, and I just I'm getting over COVID for the second time. So, if y'all didn't know, COVID is on the rise again, and I caught it at a concert. Um, I only know I caught it at the concert because none of the people I was with the day before have it, and only the people that went to the concert with me have COVID. So, um, I caught it. And then by the end of the concert, I wasn't feeling too great. The next day, I was like tired and everything, but like I wasn't truly feeling it till Thursday. And I had a sore throat. I wasn't feeling good. I even told my boyfriend, I'm like, hey, I shouldn't go into your house. I have a sore throat. I'm not feeling good. And then Friday came around. And Friday, I was tired. I was not feeling good. It was not a great time for me. And I went into work and I was there for not even 5 minutes. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to talk to HR. And I went to HR and they were like, it's like, hey, I'm not feeling good. Can you send me home? And they're like, sure. They sent me home. And so let me preface this by saying Thursday and Friday I tested for COVID. And both of them came back negative. So Saturday I went into work and I wasn't feeling good. And I went to HR and was like, hey, can you send me home? Like, no, we can't do that. I was like, oh, dang it. So I continued working. Like 3 hours into my shift, I collapsed for the first time. I didn't pass out, but I collapsed on the floor. I had a moment. And I continued working. And then about an hour later, one of my coworkers came and was like, hey, we're going to go to the wellness center. You're not, you're not doing this. And I was like, okay. And he took me there. And as we were walking there, I collapsed. I get there. I nap for an hour. And then I get out and there's 15 minutes to lunch. So I go to the bathroom. Like I wake up. I go to lunch. I eat. I'm not feeling good. My nose is running. I'm coughing. I'm sneezing. I'm burning up. And if I take my jacket off, I'm freezing. Like I can't win. I am living. Keep in mind, I've been living on Dayquil and NyQuil since Thursday. Just because I was like, I don't feel good. I'm sick. Whatever. Anyway, so yesterday, Saturday, I wake up. And my mom's like, "Hey, you should go COVID test." I'm like, "Mom, I tested Friday, Thursday, and Friday. They both came back negative. I don't think it's gonna come up positive." And she's like, "Just go test." So when I tested, and it came up positive. So this means that I was stuck at work, coughing, sneezing, working around other people with COVID. Granted, I was wearing a mask because I'm not an idiot. Whenever I don't feel good, I wear a mask just because I don't want to be doing that around people. It's not a fun thing to be coughing and sneezing like, around a whole bunch of other people. That's not cool. So I was smart. I wore a mask. So yesterday I submitted my report. I'm like, hey, I had COVID and I was at work. So now when I go back and HR is like, "Oh, how are you?" and everything, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I remember how you didn't let me go home? I had COVID." And all the people in the wellness center were like, "Ugh, I wish we could send you home, but we can't," because they were like, "You look awful." And poor them. They were also around me while I had it, but they have a giant ventilator in each room that was filtering the air, so hopefully not as bad. But like I was around my friends at work, like they kept their distance, but still they were around me. And so I had to report that I had been around all of them. And so this time, unlike last time when I got COVID, I did lose my sense of taste, but it never completely went away. And I never completely lost my sense of smell. Um, just got very faint. But this time I was drowning in my own snot. I had a cough, but no phlegm was coming up. Um, and like I was like sneezing and it was just a bad time. But I completely lost my sense of smell and I completely lost my sense of taste. Like I couldn't smell my soap, I couldn't smell chilies. Like today was the first I had a sense of smell and I was surprised like when I got up and showered and I smelled my soap I was like, "Oh my god." And when I made my soup earlier, I was like, "Oh my god, I can smell the onion." And when we ate dinner, I had like the ghost of garlic. The ghost, like I got the tingling, but none of the flavor of the chilies. And then we had pozole, and I heated it up. I'm like, "Oh, I'll have pozole. It'll make me feel better." And so I'm heating it up, and I put the onion in, which is why I smelled the onion, and I put the everything else in. I try the soup to taste the temperature, and one of the chilies gets in my mouth. I'm like, and I could actually taste it. Like I didn't really get the capsaicin or anything, but like I could tell there was flavor there. So it's really weird for everything to be coming back. But what I'm pissed off about and why I'm making this video is my work would not let me go due to policy while I was very sick. And now it's going to cause a whole problem for everybody I worked with because I was there when I had COVID. And I don't get how these jobs are letting people work when they're collapsing, when they're hot. When I was standing there dazed and confused, not moving just because I felt so sick and could not send me home. When it was more dangerous for me to be out on that floor because I work in a warehouse with heavy equipment and machinery that easily can go bad. Like things can go wrong so quickly in a warehouse. I don't know how these companies are keeping us on the floor and things working when I'm that sick. And they're like, oh, sorry, we can't send you home. Like like there should be a policy in place that when workers are sick like that, they should go home, no questions asked. Because it is more dangerous for me to be around trying to do this stuff and my coworkers, because it's not only a danger to myself, but those around me, because I wasn't fully there. Like my hand got pinched in one of the rollers because I wasn't paying attention because I was so sick. Like I wasn't completely in my right mind. And by the time I got home, I had a fever. I didn't have a fever up until that point. And by the way, I work for Amazon. I will name drop them. So I'm just very unimpressed right now when COVID's on the rise. Mass mandates are going to go back into effect. I'm COVID testing because I'm immune compromised. My boyfriend's mother is so immune compromised that the flu could kill her. And I don't want to bring anything into her home. I test still like 3 times a week to make sure they're safe, to make sure I'm safe. So I don't bring anything into their home. And I don't get anybody in my home sick besides myself. Even when I was testing negative, I was still like isolating from my family because I did not want them to catch what I have. I have lung damage. Like my lungs already only operate at about 50% capacity. And because of this, my lungs have hurt so much. I'm getting out of breath just making my soup. Sorry, I'm trying to keep going. Um like I'm not functioning. And it's going to be a problem going forward from here if these companies do not have in place these safety precautions for sick workers, especially with COVID coming back on the rise, that they don't have policies in place to be able to send these workers home. Anyway, thank you for coming to my little rant. That's all I have for you today. But if you stopped in, thank you for stopping in and letting me just rant a little bit about what's going on in my life. I know most of the time it's video games, and like a lot of the times I cut me telling stories and things out just because I'll sit there for like 10 minutes and talk about whatever, and it's not even contributing to the conversation of what's going on in the game. But it's nice for me to be able to have these moments where I'm like, okay, Saturday, like Saturdays, a lot of the time I just do art because that's what like I like to do. But like Saturday is my day for me to do whatever I feel like, whether it's drinking games, art, going off on a little rant every now and again. That's what Saturdays are for. And so, thank you for coming and letting me rant to you about this just because I feel like this needs to be a bigger issue going forward. And this should be unacceptable. You don't want me handling your packages while I have COVID, because if that goes to your home or somebody's home who has elderly, children, immune compromised people, that is going to be a problem in their home. Yes, I had a mask on. Yes, I was sanitizing and washing my hands. Anytime I cough, had to wipe my nose, anything. Sometimes that is still not enough. And that's why this should be a bigger issue than these companies are making it. If you have such a problem that you cannot send one very ill worker home because you don't have enough staff, you should hire more staff. And I'm hearing it a lot on like TikTok and things that these companies are like, oh, sorry, we can't hire more people. It's like, why? You're $1 million company. Why can't you hire enough workers to keep your building staffed? And it's a problem. And I see more and more of my generation not wanting to work. I don't even want to work. I'd rather just sit home and watch TV all day and play video games for you guys and like go to school. Like if I didn't have to pay my car insurance, my car registration, my phone bill, I would not work. If I did not have to pay bills, I would not have a job right now. I would quit. But unfortunately, I have to have a job of some kind, and nobody's hiring right now except food service. And I refuse to go back to food service because I didn't like how I was treated by customers in food service. I'd rather go to retail where, yes, you're going to yell at me still, but you're not going to yell at me because I didn't make the food the way you liked it, and it's less in my control. Like, I don't make your food the way you like it. Great. That's my problem. I worked at Subway. Literally, I sit there and make my your sandwich in front of you to your liking. If you still don't like it, then it's still my fault. At least if I work at retail, I don't design the clothes, I don't set the price. You can't really complain to me. Yes, you can yell at me all you want. I can get my manager. But there's nothing I can do about it. But none of these companies are hiring. I've applied to Hot Topic, Spencer's, Spirit Halloween, Party City, like all these places that should be doing hiring for Halloween and like the holidays and stuff, and they are still not responding to me. I apply to so many jobs. Like these places complain about not having workers, enough workers to staff for their shifts, and yet they are not hiring more. They say they are, but they're really not, and they're not even making an effort to reach out. I know 6 people who applied to all the places I did because we sat there and we all applied together. Not one of us have heard anything back from any of these companies. The most I've gotten is an email from Hot Topic saying, "Oh, we're reviewing your snail mail," but nothing besides that. And you know what? That's just where it are in this economy. They are limiting their workers to be understaffed so they can write it off for tax purposes rather than adequately staff their jobs. I heard about this one company where this guy, who is the CEO of the company, took a pay cut to make sure every one of his workers made 70,000 a year so they wouldn't have to work 2 jobs, and everybody called him crazy and that his company was going to fail, and now it is prospering. And it's just that's not how everybody functions, and I see going forward less and less of my generation is going to want to work, and more of these office jobs that need trained skilled individuals are going to start like really like having to keep on people that don't even do their job because they can't even get anybody to apply for their jobs because nobody wants to work these minimum wage jobs with long hours putting in extra time when it's going nowhere. And like as it is, we're already in a baby bust. And like that's why a lot of, not to get onto a hot fun discussion, but abortion and everything is such a hot topic right now because we are not procreating enough to replace the population, which capitalism thrives on. Um, and you know what? That's just where we are because we can't afford to even support a family at this point. None of us want kids because we're like, that's a financial burden I can't support. Um, and I know, ranting, lots of different topic here, but if you looked at the name of this video, you knew what you were clicking onto. So I I don't know what else to tell you. Anyway, before I go on any longer, this is almost 15 minutes of me complaining. Um, I will let you get on with your day. I hope you have a great day. I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.